Hey everybody, this is On Screen Off Screen, show where we like to talk about our week's media intake and how it impacts our lives. We've got Conlon, Lauren, and myself. I'm just gonna get this ball rolling, get started with my first topic, which I'm super excited to talk about. Uh, Mostly because it's been a little while coming. I have now read the first three Harry Potter books. Um, I here well, the first two are basically the same as the movies, if not better. If not, sorry, the movies are a little bit better than the books because they cut Peeves, which I view as Harry Potter's universe version of Jar Jar Binks. So, like, oh no, they got rid of that freaking horrible character. Um, Other than that, they're like shot for shot exactly what happens in the books. And people who are like, the books are so much better, and I'm like, no, they've got terrible writing, they're plot weak, they have tons of plot holes, they take longer, and you have Peeves. How is that better than this movie? Um, I'm also realizing there are certain characters that are just perfect casting. So the big three: Ron, Hermione, Harry, perfect casting. I can't imagine they have picked somebody better. Hagrid, perfect casting. Snape, perfect casting. Everybody else, it's kind of like good here, sure, whatever, it's fine. Um, we had
What about
two.
McGonagall?
McGonagall is the third one, is the other one. Perfect casting.
Okay.
Perfect casting for McGonagall. Um, I wish she was in the movies more, just because she is exceptional. Um, Once we get later, I'm sure Umbridge is a perfect casting, but I haven't met her yet. Um, Stuff like that, I'm sure will get better. The Ministry of Magic plays a bigger role, specifically in the third one. And this is the one that I feel like they actually cut too much. I think that the movie would have been better if they had just kept closer to the books like they did in the first two. Specifically, there's a scene where um, what's his name? Sirius is standing over Ron in the middle of the night with a knife, right? And he freaks out and he's like, I saw Sirius, and nobody takes him seriously about it. And um, they did a much better job in the books of leading to the Scabbers being somebody else as a reveal, right? Um, they built James and Sirius's friendship so much better in the books. Um, there's a scene where Draco tries to scare Harry by pretending to be a, what do you call it, Dementor,
Dementor.
and he casts a Patronus on him, right? Like that would have been like some really good quality scenes to get in the movie. And so it's kind of like bittersweet because I still think the third book is the best. I still think it's the best representation of time travel we've ever had. Its casting is perfect, movie is perfect, but at the same time, I'm like, we could have had so much better of a Sirius if they'd stuck to the book. We could have had so much better of a Remus if they'd stuck to the book, right? They also build to the werewolf reveal better. Hermione covers for him multiple times because she figures it out. Um, the scene where they're in the screeching whatever house, they give background as to why that house has its nickname.
The Shrieking Shack.
Yeah, and it's because Remus, instead of feasting on people when he was turning into a werewolf while he was going to Hogwarts, would bite himself. Like, it's crazy the details that we just don't get, and still a movie that I'm like, it's the best one, you know? So it's a little bit of a bittersweet thing for me. Um, so, yeah. Basically, my reviews of the movies are one is a 7, two is a 5, three is an 8.5. And my ratings for the books are one is a 7, two is a 5, 3 is an 8.8 because I still think that like the movie is whole, it's complete. I never felt like I had missing pieces from the movie, but I just have these extra details now. So it's just a little bit better, but other than that, they're basically the exact same as their adaptations.
Yeah. I think that's how you'll probably feel going forward with these because, like, I know it's the book that I've like read slash listened to the most is the fourth one because that was my mom's favorite, and so we listened to that one all the time in the car. So yeah, it's just like you get like the extended edition of the movie, basically.
I'm going to disagree there because if you watch the theatrical version of Lord of the Rings, there's actually a bunch of holes. Not anything that creates a plot hole, but like I grew up on the theatrical and I was always like, what happened to freaking, what's his name? The white wizard.
Um,
Saruman.
Sauron.
Saruman. Yeah. What happened to his army? They kind of just disappear. Like there's a lot of questions that just don't go answered. And if you compare the third book to the third movie, like the third movie doesn't create questions. You're not sitting there like, well, what happened to Remus? What happened to this character? How did we get here? How did we know that Scabbers was Peter Pettigrew this whole time, right? Like, there's no like unanswered questions. So I think it is a little bit better that way because the movie doesn't have those things. But yeah, you get those extra details. Speaking of the fourth one, it has now that I'm through the first three, it has created my first big complaint about people who talk about the books because they talk about Edward's character. What's his name?
Cedric Diggory.
Cedric Diggory, and they're like, he's so much better in the books. He comes in way earlier. You get him in the earlier books. He is mentioned. He doesn't do anything. He doesn't even interact with Harry because they're playing Quidditch together, and Harry passes out. Like, oh wow, we got his name. You know what we did get in the third book that should have been in the movie? The chick that Harry has a crush on in the fourth movie. Because I don't know if Conlon has this moment, but like I vividly remember the first time I saw a girl and I was like, wow. And
I do
Harry
too.
has
Yeah.
that moment in this book. That's like a, to me, like a very fundamental moment of growing up. And they don't have that in the movie. So, yeah. Anyway, really like the full cast versions. It is still weird for me to hear House as Dumbledore, but everybody else I've kind of adjusted to, and I've just accepted that Hagrid just won't be Hagrid. Um, but anyway,
So does this mean we're going to Harry Potter World or
no, no, I still firmly believe the writing is terrible. There's lots of good
Harry Potter.
ideas. Go ahead.
Harry Potter World is super cool, Josh. Literally, you guys should go.
No thanks,
It's
I'm good.
super cool.
and then we'll hit Broadway. Watch the
I
Cursed
go
Child.
to Broadway. I would go. That would be cool, but I'm not going to Potter World. Um,
What? Get wines. We can.
thanks.
We need all the things. So overall, you're like you're still firm on that, like it's bad writing and things, but you still enjoy them.
Yeah, the
Is your
enjoyment is still there.
enjoyment more so this go around? Like, are you enjoying it more, the
No,
same, less?
no, it's the same.
It's the same.
Yeah, I've been on this. I've been the person that's like, everybody should stop loving Harry Potter so much. It's really not that fantastic. It has so many plot holes. It's ridiculous. The magic system sucks. The world building sucks. The characters suck. All of that is still true. Yet I would binge watch Harry Potter movies like once every 5 to 10 years. So I've seen them a few times,
Hmm.
right? I'm just now mature enough to be like, I have nostalgia for these. They were a big part of my childhood. I still don't think that they should be as popular as they are. I think that they're so much better that they're it. is out there.
Yeah.
But
I was
yeah,
I was thinking about this a lot, like how did Harry Potter get so big? And I think it was because it was at a certain time, a very specific time, that it was a magical thing that all ages could enjoy and like go to. Like parents could be like, okay, I'm not like going and watching Coco Melon at the freaking theater. It's something like the whole family can enjoy. Um, and so I think it was just timing had everything to do with it. Because I think now I'm like, yeah, there are like a lot of, and I think those ideas, like her ideas, I think sprouted off a lot of other people's creativity and made a whole bunch of other things with writers who are more competent and things. But um,
I I've thought about this too. And with Harry Potter, I think the author got a little bit lucky. One, you're in the real world, so people who are not big fantasy nerds could relate to the story a little bit more because it wasn't as like high fantasy. It's kind of the first more normal normie fantasy. They did a study, it was Lego in like early 2000s, and they tried to figure out why girls played with toys. And when they had girls do simulated playing with toys, they would always pick a character and they would become that character. And because of that, they dropped a Lego line that is the most successful toy drop in the history of the world, where all these girls would buy these toys and they would become the doll or they would become the person and they would gather this family. Kind of the same thing you do when you play the video game that I make fun of. What is it called, Lauren?
Sims.
Yeah, same thing. And they've done a lot of studies on this now, and I think that Harry Potter got lucky because you have Hermione, who is a very like relatable, like I want to aspire to be like that kind of character. And I think a lot of women, this is me guessing, had a character that they could view the book through, like they could watch through. And the world is creative enough that boys, when they play with toys, they have an army and they're kind of the director when they did these studies, and they'll direct an army in a battle and they'll direct the entire situation. The world was interesting enough that boys could get involved in it and look at it and be like, cool, this guy can be a wizard and there can be two wizards fighting each other. Like you had both aspects. And before that, you had a lot of fantasy where you had a lot of things that attracted men, but you didn't have that grounding character that a girl could relate to. And then you could deal with the relationships and all the things that girls are typically interested in. Like these are generic things. I'm getting into generic things, but you had both aspects at a time where there really wasn't a market for both aspects in fantasy that normal people could latch on to at a perfect time. Does that make sense? What I'm saying? It's kind of.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, I think in a way she kind of got lucky, but good for her.
A
That's
thing
awesome.
that
And it
everybody
did
can
chase
enjoy.
fantasy. Yeah,
I think she got super lucky because I think that you're both right. Right. I think that there is the Hermione aspect. There's the fact that she's from Muggle parents, so we could all be like, well, I have Muggle parents. Maybe when I turn 11, I'll get a letter. Right. Um, there's that aspect to there was a hole in the market because Star Wars was done, right? So there's a fantasy hole that needed to be filled. Um, I agree that a lot of stuff was inspired by Harry Potter because of how popular it was, but I also think that there was a number of things pre Harry Potter that were just better. But they got Warner Brothers made a deal. The books were selling really well. She has her story of like, I wrote the first one on a napkin. So the writer herself has this very like relatable backstory that everybody was going into, and then marketing money just made us feel like it was the only option, right? So that's where I think it is. I do attribute most of it to luck, but I also attribute most of the success of most things like it to luck. Like Star Wars, most of it was luck,
yeah.
you
Even
know.
Lord of the Rings, Tolkien didn't want the books to be printed in soft paperbacks because he thought it was demeaning to his material. And there was an American that just decided that he was going to do it anyway. And we wouldn't have Lord of the Rings as big as it is if it wasn't for some guy who just like, screw it, I like your story and I'm going to print it anyway.
Yeah.
Lucky.
Yeah. So tons of luck to anything successful. Harry Potter is the one where I'm like, man, if only it was just something I didn't despise so much, that would be great. Um,
That I despise love.
but I love, hate Harry Potter. So yeah, I'm having just as much fun with the books as I am with the movies. I'm still excited to continue on. I am ready because the fourth one is going to be the biggest jump in quality, like without a doubt. If the fourth one is as bad as the fourth movie is, I might not finish reading them. Um, but I do believe that with how the third one has gone, they'll at least make the fourth one better. I hope.
Hopefully.
We'll see. All right, with that, Conlon, what do you have for us this week?
Okay, so I watched Pluribus, and the reason that I watched it is because I Patreon Matt Denneman, the author of Dungeon Crawler Carl. He has literally never recommended anything to us ever besides this TV show. And he was like, you should absolutely watch it. It's amazing. I have seen on reviews people either hating the show or loving it. And I think it's because the first episode is ridiculously good. It is maybe the best pilot episode of a TV show I have ever seen. The show starts with they get a message from outer space and they have to decode it. And you have this timer that's clicking down as they're figuring out what this thing is. And it ends up being a genetic code. So they put together the genetic code, and you think it's going to be like a zombie movie, but you're completely 100% wrong. The genetic code gets broken down, and then, like a zombie movie, it escapes the lab. And a rat gets out, it bites a person, the person shakes, freaks out, and then they kiss somebody, and they kiss another person. And within days, this disease is spread all over the world. And everybody just shakes, it becomes airborne, but this one main character who apparently is immune to the disease. Everybody shakes, they wake up, and then they start walking in one direction. And this main character that you're discovering everything with, it's like, what is going on? What's happening? And you are hook, line, and sinker with her this entire episode. More happens in this first episode than whole seasons of TV. It's great. Great episode. 9.9 out of 10. Fantastic. You find out that this genetic sequence that has been sent to us, that we have discovered, that we have broken down, links every human being on the planet. And so you become one hive mind. And it's super interesting. They deal with ideas of like, how would this hive mind work? And there's so many different questions. There are a couple different people in the world that are immune to this genetic disease. And they aren't part of the hive mind, but the hive mind wants them to be part of it. So you're discovering, one, what would a hive mind be like? They don't kill anything. So how do they eat? How do they survive? Do things keep going forward as normal? They treat the people who aren't part of the hive mind like royalty. And how do you psychologically act towards basically having infinite power? If our main character asks for a steak gets delivered. A helicopter will literally drop and deliver their steak. If she wants it cooked, it's cooked. If she wanted slaves, she would have slaves. There's a character that decides to become a powerful person and go for slaves. And it's very interesting, the different psychological aspects of each character. The reason I think people don't like the show is because it slows down a lot after that first episode. So much happens, and then it drops. So it feels even slower than a normal show would feel, because you've had all of this just, and then kind of nothing. The world kind of stops, and our main character is frustrated with everything. Um, when this is a little bit of a spoiler, I'll do some spoilers, but yeah, I do think you guys should watch this show, especially Josh. It's very, very interesting. Um, the main character loses her girlfriend, and because of that, she becomes kind of and she becomes enemy sort of with the hive mind. She wants to shut down the hive mind. And the more that she learns about it, the more she's disgusted with the entire idea. But she's alone. The entire world is one group of people who know everything about her, can search everything, have every psychologist, every rocket scientist, every neural programmer, everybody, all of this knowledge at the tip of their hand, and they can influence her, and she knows it. But she's lonely. And you're dealing with this. How do I deal with being lonely? Do I just pretend that the person that they're sending to be my escort, to be my person, to be my friend is real? Or do I just choose to be alone and fight against everybody? How do I deal with that? And I think a lot of people just take her as being bitchy instead of somebody who's going through major trauma and trying to figure out, how do I keep going? It's a super interesting show that goes layer upon layer upon layer. I think it is very if you like Severance, I think you will like this show. I have the problem with the original season of Severance that I think the beginning is really good and the end is really good, and then the middle is crazy slow. For me, this one never got as slow as Severance, but it stayed as interesting with the ideas that are presented. It is a show that I think is well worth watching. I understand why Matt liked it. I don't think it's the best thing that's come out in years, like people who love this show will say. I don't think it's the worst, like people who think it's too slow, but I do think it's very, very worth your time. Super interesting.
So, like, you just theorize that other people don't like it because of the slow pacing at the second episode, but for you, it didn't phase you that it went slow?
It it definitely slows down, but it wasn't enough that I wasn't interested to keep going. I've read a lot of reviews where it's like, I don't understand why people like the show. It gets so slow. And I think it's just whiplash, because there is major whiplash. The pacing between the two episodes is like absolute polar opposites. The pacing between the first episode and then the next like 3 or 4.
Hmm. Yeah, that's I've never heard of this. So it's like, how old is it?
It just came out last year.
Oh, okay.
It's pretty
Hmm.
new.
Interesting.
Yeah. And I get why Matt likes the show. It deals with a lot of ideas that are very similar to the ideas that he is presenting with the NPCs in his crawl. And like, are
Hmm.
these NPCs real? Like, it deals with some of the similar concepts in different avenues.
Yeah. I don't know why. It just keeps reminding me of like Keanu Reeves is talking to some kids about, like, they're like, if you take the red pill, or I can't remember which one's the pill that makes it so you can go back to your like dreamland, or you take the one and like you can still remember everything that's happened. And then people are like, yeah, just go back to the dream world because it would be real to me. And he's like, what? You wouldn't want to like break out of that? And they're like, no, do you know how horrible the real world would be? And so it's like interesting with people deciding like what reality they want and how that, because like I was thinking in her position, I'm like, would I just like think, oh, you know what, this is just how the world is now, like I guess I'll just deal with it and go with the flow, or would I try to fight it, or what? I don't know. It's
That's one of
interesting.
the best parts of the show. There's this character that I find fascinating because I would be super tempted. I'm be completely honest. He has all the girls that he wants because he just can. He just asks for them, and he'll do these scenarios where he's like James Bond, and they're at a casino night. They're in Vegas, and he flips a perfect blackjack, and the other guy isn't happy, thinking he's cheating, so he puts the gun at him, and like they do this whole James Bond scene, and he just puts it together because he thinks it'd be fun. And I'm like, I would be so tempted to do that. In this world, you'd basically be a god. And how do you be a god and be just? It's like it's a very
Hey
interesting show.
everybody, we're reenacting Lord of the Rings. Let's all head to New Zealand. That
Literally,
would be me.
it'd be so cool, and it
I'm
would be
like,
so
guys,
hard not to do
we're
that.
all gonna be hobbits in New Zealand. Let's go. That
And
sounds
guess
great.
what? I really want the actors from Lord of the Rings to be there, and I'm gonna be Frodo or whoever the heck I want to be. Everybody else is the same. I want to replay that exact scene. That would be hard not to do.
It'd be really hard. Yeah. Yeah, Josh.
Lauren, you're so full of it.
What are you saying?
You would be like, I want a cabin in the woods, and nobody
Okay.
knows how to get there except for Ellie and maybe a couple of other people. And Chansey is going to live forever and is going to get along with other dogs so I can rescue more dogs. And I'm going to be a witch. And
That's true, but in this scenario, I get to choose what everybody does. So I could be like, yeah, we're gonna reenact Lord of the Rings. As soon as you guys annoy me, I'm gonna be that witch in the woods. I'm
okay,
like
so
in
There's
between
who are
takes.
Conlon and I? We know you're Samwise, so who are Conlon and
No,
I in
I'm
this?
sorry, I'm doing what Conlon said. I'm getting the actors from Lord of the Rings to come reenact with me.
It would be so cool.
It'd be
There's a scene
awesome.
in the last episode. If you decide to watch this show, there's a scene with a goat. I'm not gonna say anymore, but I really want to know what you think about the scene. I
That
really
scares
like.
me.
I literally listened to it. The goat doesn't die or anything. It doesn't die.
That's not why
But
I'm
it's just
scared.
so it's a very small little scene. But I was like, this is so impactful. I don't know. I really want you guys to watch the show. It's super interesting.
I'll put it on the list.
Yeah, super cool. Anyway, I am gonna give this show like an eight. I should have thought about this before. 8.6. So it's a good show.
Nice.
Oh, very cool. Very interesting. Okay, Lauren, I'm excited for your topic. I want to know what you think. This is a
I watched
very controversial topic.
Is it? I did not know this.
Yes, yes, it is.
What? Let me guess. Okay, so my topic that apparently is controversial is The Lost City. I enjoyed it. Colin, are you a hater?
I am such a hater of this show. I cannot. This might. I have to look at a list, but this might be my least favorite Sandra Bullock movie. Like, I really don't like this movie. I don't know.
Oh,
It's so dumb.
that's why I love it. Because I was thinking of like why I like this so much, and I think I like movies where it's like action, but they're making fun of action movies. Um, I was dying the entire Brad Pitt like macho man coming in, and then Channing Tatum's like trying to be like, oh well, yeah, I let her know that I'm rescuing her. Like he's like, I want to do the whole shh, you're safe now. Like the whole time, like there's a scene where Brad Pitt's just running for forever straight up this road to come jump over this. Like he should have been seen so many times, but I thought it was hilarious. Um, and then I love how Sandra Bullock keeps saying, she's like, okay, so like, are you gonna get me free of the chair? And he's like, there's not enough time. She's like, well, we've been sitting here talking for a while, and I feel like we can spare some time to get me out of this. So instead of getting her out of the chair, they just find a wheelbarrow, put her in the wheelbarrow. It's so dumb. I love it. And then you have Daniel Radcliffe as like the bad guy, which he did so good at being the bad guy. And I don't know if that is just because everybody remembers him from Harry Potter. So like he's the good guy. So we can't believe that he's the bad guy. But every single time I see him as the villain, I love it. Um and it's kind of like the same in the Magic Now You See Me too, when he's the villain in that. He seems like the same type of character in this one. But I think it's so funny because he went from like at the very beginning of the movie, kind of like a dork that was like funny because like they kidnap her and they're like dragging her through the door and she's like, what is this? And he's like, oh, I'm so sorry, I told him not to be creepy, as they're like dragging her through the room. He's like, I'm so sorry, you said you like cheese, I have all these cheeses and there's just cheese everywhere. And it's just so over the top that like that's like the type of things that I love, is when movies don't take themselves seriously. um and like then as soon as he's like, well, can I take you home, and then they, like the doors, like the walls just separate and there's this huge ship that comes down and everything flies off it's so funny. I had a really good time with this movie. And like Channing Tatum, I also realize I really like stories where it's like Channing Tatum is not the rescuing type, but then ends up having to fill that role because he was like faking it before for the movie, the book covers. And then I think there's another one with like the guy who plays the Paul Blart Mall Cop or whatever, but that's not his character. It's that same actor who does another movie that like he has to fake being a spy. I realized I really like those movies. I don't know what it is. I don't know if it stems from Walter Mitty, but I tend to like where people like have to grow into this character. Um,
Do you like Get Smart?
I do like Get Smart.
Okay.
I
This
do like
movie felt very Get Smart to me, and I also don't like Get Smart.
that was like a family movie of mine. I really like Get Smart.
I
I
don't like Get
yeah
Smart, but I do like Lost City.
yeah. I just yeah. I think, and it has a lot of like good actors in this. It has Brad Pitt, Channing Tatum, Sandra Bullock, Daniel Radcliffe. I'm sure there's more. Um, but yeah, I enjoy it. I enjoy like I've been noticing Daniel Radcliffe does all different genres, but I tend to like him in these genres, uh, where it's kind of like he's a villain in something that isn't too serious, and I like how he doesn't take himself too seriously. And I'm glad that he's able to branch out from the Harry Potter franchise.
Me
Um,
too.
but yeah, I loved it. I thought it was great.
Have you seen Romancing of the Stone? It's an
That
old
sounds
80s movie.
familiar. Yes. Yeah.
Okay. An author who like goes on her own little adventure, but she's like a romance author and she really wants to go on adventures of her own because she's bored with her own life. And then she ends up in the jungle with a guy who's very similar to her
Is it
romantic
like
lead.
Crocodile Dundee actor or something?
I don't think it's Crocodile Dundee.
I don't.
Let me see who it is.
I think I just
It's
thought that
Michael
because
Douglas.
I think I thought that because my mom got, it was like Romancing the Stone, and then I think it was like a double feature or whatever DVD that had Romancing the Stone and Crocodile Dundee. But yeah, I haven't seen it in forever. I'd have to rewatch it because I remember the name. But
I love that. I
yeah,
love that movie. And when I saw this, I was like, "Oh, cool! They're kind of making a remake of that. Okay, cool. I'll give it a shot." And then this one was that, but like Get Smarted, and I hate this movie. I hate this movie. I hate it.
I was gonna
Romancing of the
say
Stone is so much
you
better.
you also hate like um
Anything good, anything happy, anything without plot
No,
holes, anything.
no.
I was gonna say no, I can't think of the
Uh,
I can't think of
Napoleon
anything.
Dynamite.
Yeah, it's like Napoleon Dynamite, but not make it Spanish.
Oh,
Nacho Libre.
Thank you.
Nacho Libre. Yes, yes, I do.
I love Nacho Libre. There's like it's really weird. I don't know where I draw the line at like the stupidity in movies, but there is a certain line that once it hits that, it's cringe, and I
Is
don't.
there
Is
is
there
there a
what?
popular one that you hate?
Um,
That's just a
Like,
dumb
Napoleon
comedy that
Dynamite,
everybody likes.
I
Nacho
like Napoleon
Libre,
Dynamite is
Hot Rod,
almost there. I like Hot Rod.
Holy Grail.
Hot
Um,
Rod is one of the only ones I like.
I
I do
love
actually
Holy
like Hot Rod.
Grail.
Holy Grail is the
Um,
best one.
I'm trying to think of. I don't think that there's
Life
any
of
like.
Brian is also very funny.
I think I've quote. I haven't seen that, but I do quote it because I've heard some quotes from it.
Life of Brian is so funny.
um, I feel like Are We There Yet is where it starts getting cringy for me.
Okay.
Um, I couldn't tell you exactly what it is. Um, but I'm trying to think of others. The
The
RV was another
Mask.
cringy one for me.
I love the
Mask.
RV. I love that movie. I
I
love
think
that movie so much.
it's the poop scene for me where they're trying to siphon the
It's so
sewage
bad.
tank. I hate it so bad. There's like things like that. I think if it gets too much into the grossness of things, it
Okay.
gets too cringy for me. And
Okay.
I can't deal with it. And I think like what was the movie we watched as a like it's not hoodwinked, that's not what it's called. Bushwhacked. Um that one was cringy for me. And I think it was because of like them peeing off a cliff and the other things that I was like, that's what turned me off from that movie. But there's like things I enjoyed in that movie, but those certain scenes just me so bad that I couldn't like the whole movie.
That's fair.
But
Okay. I'm glad that you liked that movie. I'm glad that I am the one person with sanity on this podcast about this awful movie.
you're glad. It's lonely being sane.
It
Don't
is.
give
It's
him that.
really, really
He's not
hard.
the sane person.
I'm sorry, but I can't claim to be the sane one on this
I'm not saying that. I'm saying don't give him the feeling of sanity. We're all crazy here.
podcast. Different
What's
types
your rating of the podcast? Rating of the podcast.
of
What's
our
your rating
podcast.
of Lost City?
I would probably put it as a 7. I won't go watch it right again right away, but I enjoyed it enough that I'll probably like watch it when it pops up again. So,
Nice.
I think that's totally fair. I really don't remember a whole lot about it. I didn't even remember Brad Pitt was in it, but I do remember liking it okay.
there's this part. So Brad Pitt gets shot immediately after saving Sandra Bullock, and there's this after credit scene where they're like in doing yoga, and he's in the back, and they're like, "Oh my gosh, you survived!" And he's like, "Yeah, we only used 10% of our brain, so when they shot me in the brain, I moved it to a different 10%." So dumb. And he's like, "Yeah, I just have to work through a lot of anger and resentment." And he's like looking at both of them. It's really dumb and really funny. But
All right. Well, with that, I'm going to get to my second topic. This one is Merrily We Roll Along. This was a filming of a stage version of a Stephen Sondheim musical. It stars Daniel Radcliffe, and Jonathan Groff. They staged at the Hudson Theater in New York City, which is actually the oldest of the New York Broadway musical theater stages. So, like, I only bring it up because that would be pretty cool to be a theater person and to be like, and I'm on the oldest one. You know, I think that's pretty cool.
it has
Um,
more history.
yeah. It is a pretty interesting plot. We start off with Jonathan Groff's character, and he's wealthy and he's famous, and he's just not happy. And we go back a section and we see certain events, and then we go further back and we see what led to those events, and we go back and we see what led to those events, and we go back and we see what led to those events, and back and goes to that event, and goes, and so on and so forth. Um, and we go eventually end with where he started. And Jonathan Groff and Daniel Radcliffe are friends, and Daniel Radcliffe is supposed to be this lyricist who can write these wonderful lyrics to music, and Jonathan Groff is this esteemed musical composer, and they have a third friend who's a girl who's like a writer, but she's not really a part of this. She just kind of like follows along with them. Um, and Jonathan Groff is so concerned with like being successful and making money, he keeps making deals and putting off Daniel Radcliffe's character. As he grows and grows and becomes more and more famous, he keeps doing movies and shows and this, that, and the other. And Daniel Radcliffe's character is like, hey, we wanted to do this thing because we wanted to do it, not because of money, kind of a thing. Um, and the music is pretty good. It's not like my favorite. I was very surprised to find out that this is like actually a really old play that they're doing, because like I had never heard of it before. Not that I'm the biggest theater person ever, but like I know Stephen Sondheim. I know he's done some pretty big stuff, and then all of a sudden this comes out of nowhere, starring Daniel Radcliffe out of it, out of everybody, last year. Um,
So was this like a video of them on stage, or
yeah,
is this like a movie production of?
no, they're on stage. It's a stage production that is just
Okay.
filmed. Yeah. Um, I was going to make a joke about how women ruin everything, haha, kind of a thing. But at the 1 hour mark, it becomes so actually true that I was like, I can't even make the joke right now. Um, Basically, Jonathan Groff's at his going to court to make a case to keep his child, and they directly say that his wife is making up um, charges of neglect and abuse just to get the child of full custody. And as a male, I'm like, that's a very serious concern when thinking about marriage and kids. Is that women can just say those things and take your kids away, and that became all too true very quickly for me. And then the female best friend that I mentioned before says, and I am paraphrasing, but it's pretty much a direct quote: um, just pay her what she wants, even if it's everything. Put this behind you and let them go.
That's awful.
And I was just like, holy crap. This movie came out, or this originally was written for and came out in the 60s. And they're just like, who cares? You're just the dad. Who cares? And I really did not appreciate that very much. Um, but yeah, it is essentially about how women manipulate and control this guy, driving him to ruin his friendships, isolate him, and do all of these things. Like the entire time, Jonathan Groff's character is like, I want to do this thing with Daniel Radcliffe. I want to mend this relationship. I want to mend this friendship. I want to be there for him. But my ex wife is taking all of my money. Um, I listened to them and went on a cruise instead of fighting for my child, so I don't even get to see my child anymore. I want to prepare and provide for my new family that I'm having, and he just keeps getting pushed and pushed and pushed. It was very interesting. I really liked that I watched it. It's very, very good. It's not going to be like a favorite musical of mine, but like Daniel Radcliffe, surprisingly talented. He played that character incredibly well. His singing voice definitely passable. I would say he was probably a named hire. Like, hey, we're going to get more people to watch this and can probably sell the filming rights because we have Daniel Radcliffe. But like, I think he was good enough to do it. Um, yeah, that's all the thoughts I really have on it. It was a very interesting watch.
I
Not the
wanted to
best.
watch it for a long time. I saw them perform one of the songs at a late night thing a couple months ago, and I was like, that's interesting. But it was pretty good. It's pretty good. I'll watch this. It sounds interesting.
It is. It's not, like I said, it's not the best. It's not my favorite. It's not one that I'm going to be hurrying to rewatch anytime soon. But I am very happy that I did watch it. That's kind of where it failed. Um, so with that, I will give it a 7.8 out of 10. Um,
Cool.
Good, but just not high rewatch ability for me. Um, okay, let's go on to our shared topic. Conlon, this was your suggestion, so why don't you go first?
I love this movie. I love this movie so much. We watched Real Still this week, and I'm reading Lauren's thoughts, and I agree. I'm also a sucker for a good father son story, and I think this one is super believable. And I was digging deeper to it than I've done before. I watched this movie many times because I love this movie. But the son is the perfect age. He's not so old that he's a teenager and he's like snarky. He's like that 10-year-old who just like has a love for robots, and he knows a surprising amount because you like think he's little, but he's at that age where he's smart enough that he can expand. Makes me think of my little brother before he passed away. And it's just that perfect age. Like they cast that perfect time period. And the kid is so believable and just so likable. And I can't believe he didn't blow up more because he's great in this movie. The Hugh Jackman is just like such a believable scumbag, but he doesn't mean to be a scumbag. It's not like he's a villain, but he is just a little bit of a scumbag. And he's constantly taking these bets and he's not thinking the long game. And a lot of people that fail in their lives just don't think about the long game. They don't take the little steps to be able to be successful. And that's him. And that's why he's going through problems over and over and over again. When I watched this for the first time, I was like in junior high or something. And it just barely came out. And I was not into rap at all. Not in any way, shape, or form. And they go and there's the first song with Eminem. And Noisy Boy, they're about to have that fight, and I'm like, this is great. Does rap not suck? I literally remember that moment in my life where I'm like, hey, my dad is not into rap at all. My family's not into rap. They're very conservative people. And I was like, I think my dad was wrong. I think rap is good. I literally have that exact thought in my mind. I can picture it because it was just such a vibe, and it got me into Eminem. I didn't even know who Eminem was before I watched this movie. I think it's just full blown, so much fun. Are there better, like, realistic boxing movies? Yes. This is my favorite boxing movie. Even I like boxing. I like MMA. I like watching that kind of stuff. This movie is just so much fun. I love the little guy gets a chance at the big fight thing. I love the get up thing at the very end where you think that he's not going to get up, but then he does, and you're just like, yeah. I love the music in this. I love that the kid just doesn't give up and has that faith. I love the dancing scenes. It is pure entertainment in its top form. And I don't know if Josh has been watching this, but the CES just barely happened in Vegas. And there were little boxing robots, and one of the boxing robots kind of looked like this robot. And I was like, yeah, let's go. Just made me happy. And I was like, I've wanted to go to CES my entire life. And I wanted to go this year more than any other year because I kind of box little robots, and this movie has made me love that for my entire life. It's fantastic. Just on a pure entertainment value, this is an 8.8 to me. It's just so freaking enjoyable. Just makes me smile.
Good. Yeah, there's like speaking of the music, I think there is a song where Hugh Jackman's driving. I can't remember. I can't remember the name of the song, but it's more folksy, and I love that song.
It's great.
Yeah, I have that one on my playlist. I actually listened to that before you suggested that we watch this movie, and I was like, oh yeah, sure, it has one of my favorite songs on it. So its soundtrack is fire.
It's fire. It's just on target.
Yeah.
It's wholesome. It's got like everything I want from a sports movie, along with robots that are fighting. Like, what could you not like? And I'm super excited for a second movie. I've for a long time had this on my top 10 of movies I would love a sequel for,
Mm.
because there's just so much you could do with robots that are fighting. There's so much world that you could explore that I think would be super fascinating. And I love the characters. I'm interested in what they'll do because it's been such a long time, but there's nothing in this movie that to me is like a glaring I don't like this. I just every single time I watch it have a good time. Every time.
Yeah.
What do you think
Um,
of Rocky, Conlon?
I really enjoy Rocky. It's kind of ridiculous, but I really enjoy Rocky.
Okay. What do you think of the Muhammad Ali story?
Um, I think he's an interesting character. What are you asking about with Muhammad Ali?
Like, what do you think of his rise to fame and his big fight and all that kind of stuff?
I think
Just
Muhammad
him in
Ali
general.
is one of the coolest figures in sports history because of the way that he decided that he wasn't going to listen to anybody and just was this arrogant prick. But he was so good that he was allowed to be an arrogant prick until he crossed the line where he was stopped. And I find that really, really fascinating because most of the time with sports icons, if you are good enough, you can kind of get away with whatever shit you want to. And Muhammad Ali is one of the few people that didn't do that. He crossed the line so far that for a while he wasn't allowed to box anymore. And I find that absolutely fascinating because most of the time if you're a sports, if you are very well done, if you are high up in a athletic endeavor, you become a god. And really, Muhammad Ali is one of the greatest of all times. He is an athletic god, but even the athletic god was shut down. And I find that aspect of him fascinating.
Okay. Well, the reason I ask is because this movie is just Rocky and Ali's story. That's
Yeah,
all
that's
it
fair.
really is. The ending fight is like they even admit it. It's the Ali fight. It is his most famous fight. It is him taking the punches until the bigger guy got tired and he went in and shocked everybody. Like
Yeah.
surprise, surprise. That's all I asked that for. It is interesting because I actually would say that this is realistic, even though it is robots. It is a story we see in human nature over and over and over again. And
It's a story that works for me really well.
yeah.
Whenever they do this story, I'm a sucker for it.
All right, Lauren, let's hear your
Of the
thoughts.
yeah.
yeah, so like Colin said, I'm a sucker for father son stories. Um, Especially when it's like a grumpy, reluctant father figure. um,
Let's not dissect that comment today.
um, but then, yeah, you have a stacked cast. You have Hugh Jackman, and the little boy actor is Dakota Gyro, or I probably butchered his last name, but he also plays Thor as a child in the Thor movie. Evangeline Lilly, and then Anthony Mackie. And I really love Evangeline Lilly. I really like
So
the
do I.
relationship she has with Dakota and Hugh's character. Um, and then, like, I love an underdog story. And, like, that's what this is with the Atom Bot. And I had no idea about the ties it had with Muhammad Ali and Rocky because I'm not really into boxing movies, but I really like this movie. And I like how it has consequences. Because a lot of times with like these types of movies, it's like, oh, and then it got a little broken down, but now it's even better and stuff. Where like in the end, like it's like the only chance we have here is like just not getting destroyed. Like we just have to try not to die. And then I love the thing where they have him shadow boxing at the end because like the controls went away, and it's like, it, yeah, you don't get that win. And that's what I like. You don't have him destroy Zeus, and all of a sudden the underdog is like the top dog now. It's like, no, he just held his own. He was able to like go up against like something that's never been beat before and not be utterly destroyed. And so I love that there's like the high stakes, there's there's the consequences, and I think everybody did great acting in this. I also remember watching this with my dad in theaters, and like afterwards, there's very few movies that I remember watching with my dad, and then like afterwards, we'd like talk about our lives after it, and this was one of them. And there was another one with Ian McGregor, Impossible, so it's called. Except that one was more of like, he's like, if we're ever in a tsunami, this is what we're gonna do so we don't get separated. But I was like, great, we're in Utah. I don't think we have to worry about that. But the Great Salt Lake wants to tsunami us, I guess. um, but this was one that like we talked about of like how I was doing karate at the time, and like my dad was doing karate with me and stuff. So we're like talking about like training and stuff. He's like, uh, I can't remember exactly how the conversation went, but it was like kind of cool to have like a moment with my dad after watching this movie on our drive home, which was like 2 minutes because my town was really small. But I've liked this movie because I'm a sucker for a soundtrack, sucker for father son. It has all the things I like, and I have that little personal thing of like being able to go watch it with my dad.
So what would you rate it on a scale of 1 to 10?
I should if I 9. I would say 9. I would say 10, but I don't really like I forget that this movie exists a lot. And so, but whenever I do see it, I'm like, oh yeah, when I watch it. So,
Fair enough. Um, I think that this is a pretty good movie. I do think that there are some errors with it. I do think that like you guys have been talking up the soundtrack. I think it has the most bipolar soundtrack of all time because when Eminem is
just
doing
like
his thing,
me.
I'm like, this song is awesome. It fits this movie so good. And I think the very next song is like this hard rock song, and I was literally like, why did you pick that? And then it does like this other thing, and I'm like, that's really good. And so, go ahead.
I honestly like having gone to this is a little different, but I've gone to so many wrestling matches and stuff throughout the years, and like the music that they're playing for like warm-ups and stuff are so bipolar that like fit for me with this movie. But
It works
yeah.
for me too, because the song that you're talking about, I think, is the one that they do at the zoo. And the zoo is so different from everything else in the
It's while they were
movie.
driving.
It's
It was a
supposed to be.
hard rock song
Well,
while they were driving down
while
the
they're
highway,
driving.
and I was like,
Okay.
the freak?
The one that I feel like is a little bit tonally weird is the zoo one for me. It's the only one where I'm like, but the zoo is weird, so it works for me.
Okay. Yeah. I'm not trying to say that this movie's bad at all. Uh, I'll get it out of the way right now. Before Conlon gave his rating, I gave it an 8.8. Like, I do
Wow.
love this movie, but for me, it's lifted up by a personal experience. Lauren, I'm so glad that you had such a really cool experience for it. For me, I had a much different personal experience for it. Um, I had, growing up, my family, we would take a projector and speakers to camp, our family reunion every year, and we would hang up a sheet and we would project a movie for all the kids, whatever. But in high school, I did the same thing. We went outside of AJ's house. We had a bonfire. We hung up a sheet and we watched Real Steel. And I used this as an excuse to hit on his older sister. So that is my personal experience that I had with this movie.
How did you hit on her?
I just talked to her. I'm really awkward. So,
Oh.
like, nothing happened. But
So Josh is hitting on. He's like, this is my opportunity to talk to a girl.
exactly. No, I just mostly just talked her into coming. She brought her boyfriend, which was his friend's older brother too. Like,
With the girl
He
this
was
you
was
were trying to
ambitious.
hit on was.
yeah, just no shame. It is what it is. But it was such
You
a
miss
fun
all the
time.
shoots you don't take. Shots you don't
Exactly.
take.
Um, we had s'mores. I didn't have any, but like we did the whole marshmallows and hung out and talked, and then we watched this movie. For whatever reason, we picked this movie, and it was awesome. It was awesome back when it first came out. It's just as awesome today. Um, the thing I'm really curious about, Lauren, this is mostly a question for you. How did you feel about the animation?
I liked it. Like the CGI,
Yeah.
I don't think it's bad.
I was blown away by the CGI, and I'm actually really grateful that this movie came out when it did because the robots are real. They actually built the robots.
I
And
didn't know
this
that.
is the
That's cool.
second movie to use computer animation while filming after Avatar, the first one. So they had these forms and they had it computer generated and they had it doing, and then they physically had a camera getting the shots, which is why the cameraman was able to frame everything so specifically. Like get
That's so cool.
at the end when Hugh Jackman is shadow boxing, right? They were able to frame it so well and get the lighting just right because there was an actual cameraman and an actual director looking at a screen that was animating while they were filming, which was so cool. Um,
That was cool.
the other thing that was
That's so
brought up
cool.
when I was looking into this is the reason that the robots look so good is because they had real references instead of just drawing from scratch. But yes, every time that they're just sitting around or doing something basic like standing, real robot. Like the Noisy Boy robot is a real robot. The
I
Atom
think
That's
it.
robot
so
is a
cool.
real robot. The Zeus robot is a real robot. They built all of these things, and it's so cool.
That
I
is
think
so
I
cool.
remember seeing a blooper where they're supposed to like fist bump, but the arm's not working, so they just like grab his arm and like a fist bump.
Yeah.
Oh,
Um, I found it so fascinating the way that they filmed it, the way they put it together. Like that is so cool. And somewhere in somebody's house, they have these robots.
I want
somebody's
to see
house.
this.
We're finding your location now.
I'm gonna steal Noisy Boy because he is the coolest robot. Like, um,
Wouldn't that be so sick if you had a giant house and instead of a sculpture of like a mermaid or something in the front, you just have like Noisy Boy just standing there?
Next to
That
me,
would be
in Josh's
dope.
background, there's gonna be noise.
Noisy Boy's just standing in that corner. That would be so
Taking
cool.
up like half of your apartment.
I don't care. I really would. If I could, that would be freaking awesome. Um,
That would be cool.
yeah, I love the details that they put into these robots to make them feel like they have personality too, right? Like you have the two-headed one. You
Hmm.
don't just have like
The Twin
generic
Towers or
robot
whatever.
with red, generic robot with blue, like they actually put time and detail into it, and it's so cool. Um, I love movies where they are clearly passion projects and they go through the steps to put in these extra effort things. And I know that they were limited by the time that they were in, but I just know that if this movie came out today, it would be a CGI crap fest and it wouldn't hit as hard and it wouldn't feel as impactful because we'd just be watching some CGI crap. And this came out at just the perfect time. Um,
That's very cool.
as for Colin being excited, I am nervously optimistic for the second one.
Is there a second one coming out?
Yeah,
That wasn't just
Yeah.
wishful thinking. Oh,
no, that it's actually being made. I know Hugh Jackman's coming back. I know the girl's coming back, and
Yeah.
but
Jackman's
that's
wanted to do
it.
it for years. Years and years and years. He loves the first movie. He had such a good time with it.
Yeah. I'm kind of nervous they're gonna just do some generic thing with the plot. That's why I'm nervous about it. They're just gonna be like, well, now the kid's older, and Hugh Jackman's the old guy, and generic plot. Okay, movie over. Enjoy, and I don't know, but
I will be mad if they make it be like, oh, the father son dynamic's in trouble now and they have to rekindle it. I'll be like,
I guarantee that's what they're gonna do.
then I don't
Like I
want to
can
watch
almost
it.
guarantee it. But yeah, I really do hope it's good. I've got a lot of like the first one is really solid
Hesitation.
plot wise. So if they're going to continue the story, it makes me nervous. Um, but I do love this world that we're in. I love the robots. Like I said, I think they designed every robot that we see extremely well. It looks fantastic. The CG moments that are CG moments are so well done. Uh, there's just not much to complain about this movie, really. It is fantastic.
I agree.
100%.
Good.
Last thing I wanted to say that I think is an interesting little tidbit. At the beginning, when he's fighting the bull, he gets distracted by the girl and he's like showboating. And because of that, he loses his robot. One of my favorite little details is when they win the first match, he doesn't think that they're going to win. The guy at the zoo is distracted by the girl showboating, and that's when he loses. And it's just a little detail that they added. Like Josh said, they thought about the details. This is a fantastic movie, and if you haven't seen it, absolutely watch it.
All right. With that, we're going to wrap it up. Thank you, anybody who's watched or listened to this episode. Next week, we are watching the movie Band Slam. I know you've never heard of it. I recommended it because I believe it's the best movie you've never heard of. Um, and I'm so excited for my co hosts here to watch it and tell me what they think because it is a very fun watch. Uh, don't forget to like, subscribe, comment, share, whatever. Let us know what movies or shows or games or whatever we should be watching or doing. And remember to be better today than you were yesterday.